Hey everyone, it's Kim. I told you I would show you how I do my baked oats. I make different flavors, and today I am experimenting. I looked up a lot of different carrot cake muffin recipes, and I'm changing it to make it more along the lines that I like, a little more nutrition, a little healthier, no added sugar type things. So this is what I'm coming up with. Now, I haven't made these before in this particular style, so I will tell you the difference between my basic recipe and what I'm adding here. Okay? So I started with 3 mashed bananas. Normally I use 4 medium or 3 large. This happens to be 3 medium because I'm going to be adding some wet ingredients to use up some things that I have around here. And then I put 4 eggs in mine. Most baked oat recipes call for less eggs, like 1 or 2 eggs. I add extra. Sometimes I use just egg whites, but today I'm just going to use 4 eggs. And I'm going to start by combining my bananas and my eggs pretty well. You can use a whisk, or I tend to use a fork because I used it to mash the bananas anyway. And I don't mind if my bananas are a little chunky. You can make them as smooth or as chunky as you want. I'm going to tell you offhand, now a lot of recipes call to add quite a bit of liquid, like milk to it, up to 1.5 cups, depending on the recipe. I do not add that. I like my muffins or my baked oats quite dense. So you'll have to decide whether you like them dense or not. To the bananas and the eggs, I'm going to stir in 1 carton of plain Greek yogurt. This has some extra protein in it. Adds some additional 15 grams of protein. So I like to add Greek yogurt to mine. Again, this is part of it is in place of that liquid that most people would normally use. Greek yogurt isn't a common recipe or ingredient for baked oats, but I have some in my refrigerator that I need to use up because I also use it for that 2-ingredient bread. So that's up to you if you want to add the Greek yogurt or if you prefer some other kind of liquid. And then mix that in. So that's the beginning of pretty much all my recipes. Okay, I'm going to stir it more as I go along. So for added seasoning or flavor, I guess you want to call it, I am going to add a little bit of, my daughter-in-law made this vanilla for me, so I'm going to add a generous teaspoon of vanilla. If I do not have a lot of sweet ingredients, sometimes I add just a couple of drops. This is just plain stevia, and I mean literally like that much is what I would add to any recipe. If you don't want to use something like stevia, you could go with maple syrup, especially in these would be wonderful, honey, or you could add sugar or other sweetener of choice. I don't like them overly sweet, so I tend to not use a lot of sweetener. And then for the rest of my ingredients, it's just easier to stir this in. Normally, carrot cake has ginger, cinnamon, and nutmeg. Well, I don't have the nutmeg and the ginger, so I'm just going to use some of my pumpkin pie spice. That's all the ingredients it has. I tend to like a lot of spice in my stuff, so I'm just going to mix in. Normally you would only want 1 teaspoon. I'm going to mix in 2 because I like that little extra spice in there. Okay, to that, anytime I make especially baked goods, I add just a little pinch of salt. It tends to bring out and balance some of those flavors. And then a teaspoon of baking powder. Sometimes I forget it. Honestly, I don't really notice much of a difference, but I'm going to add it this time. And I'm going to make sure especially those spices are well incorporated. So what I'm using up for Shelf-tember here is overripe bananas and some eggs. I have a huge amount of eggs to use up, about 5 dozen. I've already made some egg bites, and that's in a separate video. I will probably make more of those. I might make a couple of other things to put in the freezer, but I haven't quite figured that out. So I'm also going to be using some homegrown carrots. Now I shredded up 2 carrots about this size. You can see they're about the size of the palm of my hand. These are ones from my garden. That I measured it because, you know, I usually don't measure, but for you guys I want to measure. So I have a cup of shredded carrot because carrot cake needs carrots. I chopped up some walnuts I have on hand. I had a huge 3-pound bag, and I still have at least a pound left. So I want to use up some walnuts. You could use pecans or whatever you like, or you can leave them out if you don't like nuts. Then I made, a couple of years ago, I had so much zucchini. I made pineapple zucchini. So easy. Basically, I peeled zucchini, chopped it in to look like little pineapple, and poured in some pineapple juice and canned it, bath canned it, and it tastes just like pineapple. It's so good. And I have a lot of these left. So I'm going to add a half a cup of my pineapple zucchini. It's a hidden vegetable in these muffins that doesn't taste at all like a vegetable. Stir this together really well. And these are going to be a little thicker to start, especially with the carrots in there and all the walnuts and that zucchini. So from my shelves, I was able to use up some walnuts and some of that pineapple zucchini. I like to use it. I'm going to be making a fried rice later, and sometimes I like to add that zucchini to it for that pineapple flavor, so I'll probably save that for dinner. And the last thing I'm going to add is my oats. I use regular oats. I have used quick cooking oats. I don't like them as much. If you don't like if you want it more muffin-like, less like an oat bake, you can grind these up into a flour. So I have 2 cups of the oats. Like I said, I like mine a little denser, more like a baked oats, and I'm just going to stir that in. Now, you can bake this in, I use like a 9x9 square pan because I bake everything in my toaster oven. It's kind of got everything in it. It's got dehydrator and an air fryer and all that stuff. But my oven's not working well, so I'm going to stir this all together. And I'm going to put this, instead of the 8x8, and in an 8x8, it's approximately 30 minutes. The more wet ingredients you add, you have to adjust the time. So I'm not exactly sure. This could take up to 45 minutes, depending on how much is in there. So I make sure everything is well mixed. I'm going to make these into muffins, because quite frankly, I have an issue with portion control on these baked oats. And if it's in a square pan, I kind of like to come back and take little nibbles all day. And this way I can save some for a snack during the week, and then some of them I can put in my freezer. So I'm just going to use my same old, I only have one, my little muffin pan that I make my egg bites in. I'm going to portion this out. I might get more than 12. I'll let you guys know. And once they're done, I'll do a taste test and I'll let you know how they turned out, since this is a new quote-unquote recipe for me. All right, for the carrot cake muffins, I got 18 total. And I tasted, this one's I broke it apart by accident. They turned out really, really good. I like that pineapple in there. I forgot to add that you could add coconut if you like it. I don't care for coconut. You could have added raisins instead of the pineapple, whatever. But I'm happy with how sweet they are. I wish I would have put just a tad more of the spice, but I'm a spice girl. So, but they're delicious. Anyway, this is definitely a keeper recipe for me. So enjoy, have yourself a nice carrot cake, healthy muffin, and have a wonderful day.